For better living, are you feeling good tonight? This thing got me thanking God for life.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this half box braids and half cornrows look. I like to refer to this as the tribal cornrows or the tribal braids or the African braids and beads. Either or, it just has that very, Afrocentric vibe to it. It's a really cute hairstyle, especially during the summertime. This was very popular, and I'm guessing it's going to come right back again during next summer. So for the back, I'm doing the bricks formation, or I like to call the box parting. As you can see, I'm creating the boxes in between the braids at the bottom, just so that it falls right in between the layers, the roll at the bottom. So that's the gist of the box parting. So I'm going to be leaving this tutorial in regular speed so that way you guys can see exactly what I'm doing in real time. So for the hair that I chose to use, I decided to use I believe this hair was by Expression. It's like their pre-stretch hair. It is the blend of the color 27 and the color 1B. The first half of the hair is the mix of the 27 and the 1B, and then the bottom is just straight 27. So it's kind of like a mix and an ombre. It's really cute. If you have dark hair and you want to still have color but you don't want it to look too loud, this is a really great alternative to kind of go for. But yeah, so for the box braids part, I always apply products just to make it easier for me to braid. I like to apply some of the products at the base of the braids, and then I apply a little bit as I go along, just to kind of make sure that the texture of the braids itself looks very smooth and there are no stray hairs sticking out. So the less stray hairs you have when you're braiding, the easier it's going to be for you when you are done, and you don't have to cut so much stray hair by the time you're done. So that's why I always like to add, I always have a product in the back of my hand, so that way as I'm braiding, I just dab just a little bit of that product and apply it to the braids that I'm doing, and just smooth it as I go, so that way I don't have to do so much work later on. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist. I'll try and put a link to a box braids tutorial, a very detailed tutorial for anyone that's interested. I'll put a link in my description, so make sure you kind of check it out. I'll also put links to the product, the hair product, and a link where you can get them in my description as well. So make sure you guys are checking the description information. If you have any questions before you ask, just kind of check my description. 9 times out of 10 I probably already answered it, or I answered it during the video, so just kind of pay attention, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist. But when I get to the end, I like to tie like a nice little knot. This is the first step of securing the ends for me. After tying the knots, I also dip it in hot water, which is also the second step of securing the ends, so that way I know for sure my braids are not gonna unravel. So yeah, so to start my braids, I like to do the crisscross method. So I take part of the braid, split it in half, not in equal parts, but one part is bigger than the other, and then crisscross it to create equal parts. And then when I place it onto the hair, I split her natural hair into 3 to match the 3-strand braids of the extensions, and then I begin to crisscross before I twist my hand around, so that way I'm not braiding downwards. I'm kind of twisting my hands back around to braid the way that I normally would braid. You don't have to worry so much about tucking with this hair. It's because the Expression hair that we're using has a blend of 1B into the color 27, so her hair is going to blend naturally into this braiding hair, so you don't have to worry about tucking it. So that's the beauty about this type of hair. Sometimes you have clients that like that loud color, that they don't want the mix of the 1B, they just want it to be straight 27. You could use that as well, but you would have to make sure you tuck her natural hair inside of the braiding hair. So just keep that in mind. It's more work, but that's why I like this hair, because it just makes everything blend together. It looks good. It's not too sharp on the eyes, but it still stand out. It's perfect. So for the top, I'm going to be doing some cornrows like I mentioned before. As you can see, I've parted the front into two, whereas I also have like a middle section of the braid that I'm going to have from the point of her, like the mid section of her hair. Pretty much you can measure it from the bridge of her nose to the, I guess, the back of the box braids. Right now I'm just adding some product. I always use Shine and Jam. You guys know I'm loyal to that. They're not sponsoring me, by the way. I just love their product. It works really, really well, especially for braiding. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing the Ghana technique, Ghana braiding technique, because she does have natural hair, and this method will let her keep the hair on for longer. So I like to start braiding with her natural hair, and then I add hair as I go. Now the difference between the Ghana technique and the feeding technique is how you place the hair. So hair placement is really the difference. So with the Ghana technique, you're covering her natural hair underneath of the expression hair. So as I added the hair, I just continue to braid as usual. I don't leave the hair out. I don't braid before adding the hair in. I just literally add the hair and just continue to braid like I didn't even add the hair, if that makes sense. So you're only adding it to the strand on the left, the far left, and then the strand on the far right. And then you just continue to braid regularly. So as you add the hair, you're going to gradually increase in size. You don't want the increase to be too obvious. If you don't want it to be, I mean, sometimes it just depends on the size of braids you're going for, but if you want it to be seamless, don't make the size of the hair that you're adding, don't make it too obvious. You kind of want it to be very, very seamless. That's going to give you that perfect graduation from like skinny cornrows to like thick cornrows, if that makes sense. So like I was saying about the Ghana technique, the beauty about this is that you can hide your client's natural hair underneath the cornrows. So let's say the braiding hair I was using was red, and my client's hair is obviously black, and I wanted to do a cornrow style without showing her black hair onto the cornrows. Well, the good thing about Ghana technique is that with the way we place the hair, you're able to cover your client's natural hair color under the braids. So her natural hair color will not be peeking through in the cornrows. It'll just be the color of the expression or braiding hair or connectolon hair that you're braiding with. So that's why I love the Ghana technique, because it just gives you more tools under your belt as a stylist to be able to give your clients whatever they want, even if it seems impossible. And they're gonna be like, hey, do you think you can do the cornrows to make it look like this? I don't know if it's possible. But then when you tell them it's actually possible, and they start looking at you like, oh, she's good. But yeah, it's just one of the things. If you don't know how to do it, just learn it. It's pretty easy. I promise you. You just have to trick your mind, and then just remember that you're placing the hair a certain way. Like, I promise you. So now for the sides, we're not going to be doing the two braids coming to the front. We're just going to be doing the braids all the way back. So for the first three cornrows I'm going to be doing on the sides, they're going to be straight parts to the back, straight parts, nothing special, no fancy anything, but yeah, just straight to the back. And then when you finish those three lines of cornrows, then you're gonna start curving your parts. Okay, so back to the cornrows. Like I mentioned earlier, we always start with her natural hair, and then we gradually add hair as we go. You want to make sure you don't add hair that is too thick, especially on the hairline, because that'll cause breakage. And you also want to make sure you don't start with braiding hair, because that'll also cause breakage. So you want to start off with her natural hair, and then you gradually increase in size by adding braiding hair to it. So that way the hair isn't pulling. It's not, it's just, it makes sense to braid the natural hair first and then you add hair. Trust me, because you don't want to stress out the hairline too much. So that kind of helps manage it a little bit. So right now I'm just slicking off her baby hair so that way we do not braid them. You want to keep the baby hair out of the way as much as you can. And then for the parting at the top, as you see, I'm starting to slant the parts. I'm not doing it straight back. So we wanted to kind of have like a 45-degree angle, so that way it can kind of complement that straight back part we have in the center. So kind of keep that in mind. But if you have clients that want it straight back too, that's cool. Just, I guess it depends on what your client is requesting. So that's what you would do, obviously. But for this one, we're doing the first 3 rows straight back, and then after that, we're just gonna kind of angle the other parts. Okay, so now that you're completely done, this is what your hair is looking like. Isn't this like super cute? Like, look at the precision of the Ghana braiding. Like, hello. It looks really, really good. So what we're gonna do right now is just trim off the excess hair. You see those little stray hairs hanging at the back. We're just gonna take a pair of scissors and trim it out of the way. I'm gonna tell you guys a quick little trick that I like to do, because naturally you're not gonna get off all those single, like every single stray hairs. You can't, because you be there all day trying to clip hair. But I'm gonna tell you guys a trick. There are two different ways people like to do these. Some people like to burn it off, and other people like me, we like to use steam, like hot water steam, to lay it down. Okay, so after you cut it off with, you know, as much as you can with your pair of scissors, you're gonna take a towel, and I'll show you guys in a little bit. You're gonna take a towel, you're gonna dip it in your tub of hot water, you're gonna dab off every excess, what am I saying? You're gonna dab off the excess water that's probably dripping off, and then you're gonna take that towel, you're gonna run it through the client's hair. You're gonna, you know, kind of let it kind of stay there for like 2 seconds, and then you run it down. Let it sit for 2 seconds, and then you run it down, and then you carry your mousse, apply some of that on it. So actually, you apply the mousse on it before you run your hot towel over it, just so the mousse kind of helps with the steam, and it just works together, and also moisturizes the hair at the same time and adds shine. So that's a really, really good tip. Just a little FYI for anyone that's trying to do that. Kind of figure out how to get off as much stray hairs as you possibly can, other than trimming. So yeah, you could try that out, but just make sure you're careful with the hot water and stuff like that. I don't recommend the burning method. The only time I've seen people do the burning method is in Africa. Like when I used to get my hair braided, they would just take like a little candle and like burn off the stray hairs. So yeah, that's kind of dangerous. I don't play with fire, so we're not gonna be doing that. We're gonna be doing the steam method. It works just as much, just as well as the burning method. But yeah, just a little tip. But anyway, so don't forget to lay your baby hair. Don't forget to lay your baby hair. You want to make sure your hair is laid. I like to do this for my clients because it just makes them want to just up and go straight from the chair to whatever, you know, event or place that they have, you know, scheduled for the rest of their day. So they don't have to go home and then go figure out where to get edge control to lay their hair. They can literally just up and go from your seat. So make sure you form a habit of doing the baby hairs, because it's really, really going to add a little bit of that oomph to your service and make your clients feel like, you know, you really took time. It's all about details, just taking time, making sure that everything looks good. So don't skip this part. Literally just do it, and recommend some products for them, or you can sell some edge control products for them at this stage. I don't sell edge control, but you know, if you did, this would be a great way to kind of sell it for them. So yeah, just take your time, do the edge control. Lately I've been kind of going back and forth with the combs and the toothbrush. I think I like the comb. I think I like the toothbrush more. I used to do the toothbrush way back in the day, but I stopped because I wanted to kind of step it up and start using the comb. But I started going back to using a toothbrush, and I think I like it way better. And then I started playing with the spoolie. You guys have seen me use a spoolie to do edges before, and I also think I like that a lot too. I don't know, not as much as a toothbrush, but it still does the job. Okay, but anyway, so I'm just dipping her hair in hot water. As you can see, she's nicely draped, and I also have a towel to kind of aid me so that way I don't burn myself or burn my clients. So make sure you guys are both protecting yourselves during this process. If you don't feel comfortable doing this part, make sure you get help or find somebody that can do that part for you. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, make sure you like, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Have a merry day and God bless.